I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. And this past week, from St. Louis, Missouri, we had AEW Dynasty. A new pay-per-view. As we know, they're coming out with more and more. Let's get into it. The opening match for the Continental Championship, Pac versus champion Kazuchika Okada. Continental title rules, nobody is allowed at ringside. I will say this was a great way to start the event. I mean, there was a little bit of predictability there. Like, I really didn't think they were going to let Okada lose the title so quickly, especially because he was such a hot sign, was so big in New Japan Pro Wrestling, is now one of AEW's top new signees. He's with the Elite. He just won the title. But this is where I'm okay with some predictability. There was still some little doubt that maybe Pac would win it. Even when Okada hit Pac with a Hangman DDT from the barricade onto the outside floor. But Pac recovered. They had a great back and forth until Pac went for the Black Arrow. But Okada was able to get the knees up. And from there, Okada was able to get the Rainmaker, get the pin over Pac, and retain the Continental Championship. This one, I'd say it got its 4 out of 5. Then a 6-man tag team match, as the 3 male members of the House of Black challenged NJPW Strong Openweight Champion Eddie Kingston, Ring of Honor Champion Mark Briscoe, and TNT Champion Adam Copeland. You know, it was really good. It was the good chaos I talk about all the time. It was very chaotic, but not so chaotic that I couldn't follow. And normally I don't like when they have these kind of rivalries going and they throw it on a pay-per-view as a 6-man tag, but this time I was okay with it because it actually made sense. It's looking like we're building up to Malachi Black versus Adam Copeland for the TNT Championship. And of course, Malachi Black is part of the House of Black. So it was a good build-up, especially if they build this up to their big pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. So I was okay with this 6-man tag as it felt like it was a necessary 6-man tag, not filler. And the chaos went until Adam Copeland was about to get a spear onto Malachi Black, but got stopped with Malachi Black spitting mist in his eyes. And from there, Malachi Black was able to get the Black out, pin Adam Copeland, and win the match for the House of Black. And again, building this rivalry between him and Adam Copeland. And honestly, I'm excited for a one-on-one match between Adam Copeland and Malachi Black. So whereas this was really good, I don't really feel like it quite got to a 4, but a very solid 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the TBS Championship, Willow Nightingale challenges Julia Hart. I gotta say, this match was disappointing. I was looking forward to it. They've been building this up for months, and then it was just very quick. There wasn't anything particularly bad about the match. It's just the fact that this was a pay-per-view match they'd been building up for a while for a championship, but this had all the steam and momentum of a match you would see on Dynamite or Collision. It was a letdown is what it was. I was expecting more from these two. Like I said, it was just a quick brawl that ended with Willow Nightingale winning the championship, which I'm fine with that. I was fine with whoever won the championship. I will say I was a little bit more leaning towards Julia Hart, but then again, I also got to admit her reign as TBS champion has been kind of like the match, a little bit of a letdown. So maybe it was a good idea to take it off of her and let Willow Nightingale do her thing, especially because after the match, out comes Mercedes Moné to kind of spoil Willow Nightingale's celebration, because as it's been noted, Mercedes Moné will be cleared by Double or Nothing and has said that she is challenging whomever is the TBS champion by then. And of course, her and Willow Nightingale, it's an obvious rivalry. Outside of AEW, Willow Nightingale not only beat Mercedes Moné to become the very first NJPW Strong Openweight Women's Champion, but also injured Moné during that match. The injury she's finally about to come back from. So it's a natural rivalry, I get it. But I was a little more interested in Moné versus Hart, but I'm excited for that match, but I wasn't that excited in this match. Like I said, it just felt like these two didn't really bring it, so the best I'm going to give it is a 2 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the AEW International Championship, Kyle O'Reilly challenges former friend Roderick Strong. It was good, but it was very predictable. Kind of just what was expected. I really didn't expect Kyle O'Reilly to win the title, his first match back, basically. Especially with him coming back from such a bad injury. Because people talk about people being injury prone. It's not necessarily injury prone, but right after you come back from an injury is the time you're most susceptible to getting another injury. So it's not a good idea. Not to mention, I felt like this needed more build-up, and maybe this will give it more build-up. At one point, Wardlow came out, and the referee stopped him. But that was enough to distract Kyle O'Reilly, but not too much. But it just went until eventually Roderick Strong got the end of Heartache onto Kyle O'Reilly, got the pin, and retained his international championship. And the Undisputed Kingdom all came out and celebrated with him. And even Adam Cole, he got up out of his wheelchair, making it clear that he's making strides towards recovery. So we'll see what goes on with that. This match, it was okay. I would give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the FTW title, Chris Jericho challenging Hook with Chris Jericho's new character, the Learning Tree Chris Jericho, because that's what this rivalry has been about. He wants to mentor Hook. Hook doesn't want to be mentored by him. And here we go. It was a brutal match, of course. I mean, it's FTW rules. They can do that because it's not an official championship. So, of course, chairs, tables, and all that stuff got involved. Like, Jericho got put through a table, but not to be outdone, he later returned the favor and put Hook through a table. And then when 2 Judas Effect elbows did not work putting Hook away, Chris Jericho went out, got Floyd, and straightforward clocked Hook right in the middle of his forehead with it. And that did the trick as Chris Jericho got the pin and became the new FTW champion. And I'm guessing this is definitely not over. This was a good match. This one was built up perfectly. This one was brutal. I don't care what the audience was chanting. I give it a 5 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the Women's World Championship, Thunder Rosa versus Timeless Toni Storm. Great match. To steal a line from one of the best commentators to ever live, they put on a clinic. And again, there was a sense of I pretty much believe that Toni Storm was going to walk away with the title, but maybe not. Thunder Rosa never lost the title. She had to vacate it due to injury. She's on her way back. She's been back long enough to prove that she's not just going to get another injury and go away. So it was a we'll see situation. Of course, Mariah May showed up, and Deonna Purrazzo came out and took out both her and Luther. So Toni Storm had to do it on her own, and she did. Doing it on her own, she ended up getting the Storm Zero, getting the pin, and retaining her Women's World Championship. So I like that because technically she didn't cheat. She's just that good. And I would have gone that way too because she is the hottest thing they got going on in their women's division right now. She's still got a lot of momentum with that championship, so not yet time to take it off of her. I would give this one an easy, solid 4 out of 5. Yee! Then the dream match that we've been waiting for a while now. Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. This was such a good match. It was everything we expected, and it was match of the night. It was as intense as we thought it would be. There were some crazy things going on, but not all of it was done by Will Ospreay. For example, Bryan Danielson doing something that I can't think of ever seeing before, a top rope tiger suplex. But not to be outdone with crazy maneuvers, Bryan Danielson had Will Ospreay in a triangle choke. Will Ospreay picked him up and turned it into a Styles Clash. Almost like a Cradle Styles Clash, if you will. Then there was like a really intense dramatic moment as from each end of the ring, you saw Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay staring at each other. Bryan Danielson was going to go for the Psycho knee. Will Ospreay was going to go for the hidden blade. It was like a game of chicken. Who was going to get it first? It was Will Ospreay. He got the hidden blade. Right afterwards, he gets the Tiger Driver 91. And this is where some drama came in that says that this is not over. The referee called for a doctor. Will Ospreay did not see it and immediately hit Danielson with the hidden blade, got the pin and the win. So Will Ospreay wins, but as he's celebrating, realizes that Danielson was hurt. Now, they announced even later in the show, Danielson is all right. In fact, we're all pretty sure this was a work. Again, to build up to more Danielson versus Ospreay, which I would love to see. But at the media scrum later, Will Ospreay said he was going to retire. He said the Storm Driver 91. I think he meant the Tiger Driver 91, that he was going to retire it. Because he does the Storm Breaker, but the Tiger Driver 91 is definitely a dangerous move and probably should be retired. Either way, this match, for the match itself, plus the drama that unfolded later, which I can give this because it turned out it was a worked drama, 5 out of 5. Yee! Then, to declare new AEW Tag Team Champions, as we know, at the last event, Revolution, Sting and Darby Allin retained the titles and then forfeited them because Sting retired. So there's been a tournament that was going to culminate at Dynasty, and they decided to make it a ladder match. The Young Bucks versus FTR. I mean, I will say this. When I first realized it was going to be the Young Bucks and FTR, I was just kind of like, we've seen this 3 times. But to add a ladder, I was like, okay, might be really good. And it was. It's everything we expect from a Young Bucks versus FTR match with ladders. Because, of course, it was bloody. There were lots of ladders, lots of tables. But ultimately, it wasn't working to anything special because it was just kind of what was expected and only what was expected until the end when the drama came in. As FTR was about to grab the belts, and a masked fan came in and knocked over the ladder. The security grabbed this man, and it turned out to be Jack Perry, who apparently is now with the Elite, teaming with the Young Bucks, which I'm glad about. I'm glad Jack Perry is back. I'm glad he's still doing his heel character, the scapegoat character he's been doing in NJPW. I really feel like there's a lot of potential with this. And it allowed for Nick Jackson to get up the ladder, grab the belts, and wow, the new and first 3-time tag team champions, the Young Bucks. It was a good match. Wouldn't say it got to a 5, but easily a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then the main event for the AEW World Championship, Swerve Strickland versus champion Samoa Joe. It was a great match. One of the things that made it so great is I had no clue who was going to win. Were they going to keep it on Samoa Joe and have Swerve Strickland keep chasing after the title, maybe even up to Double or Nothing? Or were they going to give it to Swerve Strickland, who's been chasing it for a while, who's got the momentum, he's got the fans behind him? It really was a, what way would they go with this? And not only did I not know who was going to win, but from right off the bat, I was going to be happy no matter who it was. If they were going to continue Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland, or if they were just going to give it to Swerve Strickland and let the next one come in. And even the way they did the match made sense. Joe is much bigger than Swerve, so he was dominating most of the match until he messed up and hit his arm on a ring post, and Swerve Strickland capitalized on that. It led to Swerve Strickland getting the momentum, even to the point of getting a 450 splash to Joe while he was hung over the bottom rope. And this who is it going to be situation going on until Swerve Strickland got a second Swerve Stomp onto Joe, got the pin, and became the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Me, it's more of an accomplishment that he is the World Champion after getting such a lackluster run in WWE. Like, he had a good run in NXT, but then WWE comes around, they did almost nothing with him for a little bit, and then released him to a point that so many people forget that he was ever even there. I'm glad for that because I've been following Swerve Strickland back when he was Shane Strickland, heck, even back when he was Killshot in Lucha Underground, and I've been waiting for him to get his due. And he got it. Good for him. Honestly, I think he can do a lot with this title. I think it can do a lot for him. This match, it also got its 5 out of 5. Yeah! So AEW Dynasty overall was a good show. Very good show. It had its lackluster moments. Like, I was really disappointed with that TBS championship match. But you know what? At least it's building to something. And that's, to me, the best thing about the show is everything seems to be building towards something else. Like, obviously, Hook and Jericho is not done. Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson is not done. Malachi Black and Adam Copeland, not done. The Young Bucks, FTR, the whole Elite thing, definitely not done. Just getting started. And now we have a brand new world champion. We'll see where that goes. Basically, it's doing what pay-per-views are supposed to do. It's finishing some stories while really building up others. But what I also like about it, whereas it was mostly just building stuff up more, it didn't give you that feeling of this is filler. It gave you the feeling of this is a super card. There were a few 5s, a few 4s, a couple 3s, only 1 2. And again, not only is it doing its job by building up these rivalries, but building them up for one of their biggest events, Double or Nothing. Because of course that's just always the way it's going to be. There's going to be pay-per-views that are like the big ones, and then there's going to be the ones that are just big but not as big. As long as they're not just filler, I'm happy. And this wasn't just filler. I will say with the Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay thing, I wasn't going to give it a 5 at first if Bryan Danielson turned out to be really hurt. But again, we found out later he's fine. So I'm pretty sure it was just a work to get to the next match. Because this is definitely not done. They can't just have a one-off and that be it. No. It's too big for Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. They need to have a series. Like I said, as far as Malachi Black versus Adam Copeland, I'm excited for that. That's a matchup I really want to see. Like, I'm glad he's done with Christian Cage, because we've seen it. It's over. Now let's get some new blood in this. Ooh. That sounds like it could be a 4 or 5 star match. And then the main event was Swerve Strickland winning. And there's been some backlash because they mentioned that he is the first African-American World Heavyweight Champion. in AEW at least. I don't get why that's making people mad that they mention it. It's not suggesting that AEW was ever racist. They haven't been around that long. But it is a milestone. It is their first African-American champion. Who cares if they want to mention it? So what? It's a big deal for him because he gets to be the first. If Keith Lee comes back and wins the title, he's still the first. If Powerhouse Hobbs ever builds himself up to being the champion, which I can dream, he still will be the first. If Scorpio Sky comes back and they build him up to being the world champion, which again, a man can dream, Swerve Strickland is still the first. So it is a big deal. Kind of like him and everybody else wins the championship, Chris Jericho was the first. So again, it's a big deal that he won the championship, but it's an even bigger deal that he gets to be the first of a particular category of champion, which is African American. For me, though, again, I was just very happy that he won it because I've been waiting a long time to see Shane Strickland, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Killshot, whatever you want to call him. I've been waiting a long time for him to get his due. I remember saying this guy is a future world champion and being told by people like, nah, he's an indie darling, he'll never be a world champion. Well, he's not an indie darling anymore. He's a world champion. I've been saying it for a long time. He has all the tools to be a world champion. Not just the skill, but the charisma and the it factor. Because he does have that it factor. Not to mention, he's right now basically a babyface, but still has his heelish ways, and I like it. I did say before, and I will say it again, I think the only thing missing is he needs to get rid of Prince Nana. Him being a part of the mogul MSC thing, it doesn't work if he's a babyface. And he is a babyface, whether he wants to be or not. The fans, we love him. We're happy he's the champion. That's the only criticism I have at him right now. I would love to see Hangman Page come back and them be the ones to go at it at Double or Nothing, because that rivalry is so hot and intense. I think that's the only thing missing from it, was it should have been for a title. And in this case, the world title. Hangman Page is a former champion. He hates Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland hates him. To me, I see dollar signs in that marquee. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see who he faces at Double or Nothing. But for right now, talking about AEW Dynasty, I wouldn't even say it's their best event, obviously. Wouldn't even say it's their best this year. But I would definitely say it easily earned its 4 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications when I post videos. And leave a comment I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of AEW Dynasty. Love you guys.